Hello, and welcome to the first installment of Keeping Kith. I am so excited for this series to be sharing these little windows into the Northern Plains, its seasons, and the many-bodied beings that I call neighbors. So I decided for this very first episode, now you may be listening or you may be listening and watching, I decided for this very first episode that this is kind of a threshold moment, so we would cross the threshold from in here is my tiny house. It's the writing shack where I do a lot of my work, recording and writing work. So we're going to step through the door out into the tree belt that looks directly north into the pasture. So I'm going to turn you around. For most of these episodes, I am not going to have my face on the screen. I want you to see what I'm seeing because you're going to be listening to what I'm listening to, and you're going to be part of what I'm experiencing here. And as you heard in the introduction, that will be whatever's happening. So it might be wind, it might be birdsong. Today, there's some dogs. All the dogs are out with me here. We've got, quite the pack. So you'll get to see them. Oh yes, now they're going to put on a good show for you too. You can hear also the wind chime that is outside my house. My tiny house, which is really cool. My dad, who passed away almost exactly 25 years ago, it'll be 25 years next month, he got that wind chime in Japan, and it has traveled a lot of different places with me. And it really, when I'm writing and recording, it often will accidentally end up in things I'm doing. And so it feels like an extension both of the wind, but also my dad. So I don't mind hearing its voice contributing to this first episode. I think is pretty cool. So it's January. This is a kind of a quieter time usually. We're having unseasonably warm weather here though. Today, I think yesterday it said it was 28 degrees above normal, above the average for that day. And I don't know if you can hear this, but the wind is also rising just from when I came out. Wow. So I almost feel like I'm getting a little emotional because I have had this start to happen where when I talk about the wind, it comes up. And it kind of freaks me out a little bit, but I also think it's cool. And it has more and more over the years begun to feel like a conversation that I'm having. And when I forget to reference the wind, it will remind me. And when it makes its presence known. Let's just say that much. Meanwhile, I was out here earlier when I first came in actually to the tiny house, and a red-tailed hawk came super low, like right into the trees, which happened but very, very rarely. And I was regretting that I hadn't already set this up because it felt pretty special to get that visitor coming through. So I guess I'll talk a little bit more about what my hopes are for this series. Sometimes I'm going to be taking you to the barn with me. Sometimes I'm going to be taking you out in pasture walks. We're just going to go to different places, and I'm going to introduce you to my neighbors, like I said. So in this tree belt specifically, we have a lot of different trees that have, as you can maybe see if you are watching, have had difficult lives because it is the Northern Plains is a hard place to be a tree. We are obviously very windy. We get very dry years, and then years, maybe every 10 years it seems, approximately, we'll get a very, very wet year. So we just had a wet year, and we'll see our trees grow just incredibly on those wet years, and then they'll have many years where we're getting less than 13 inches of rain for the whole year. So they have to be really resilient. If you want to be a tree on the Northern Plains, you have to be tough. In fact, just 2 weeks ago, we had a wind event here where, and here comes the wind again. See? We had a wind event here right before Christmas. where winds were clocked. Down in Rapid City, I think they had a wind gust that was 101 miles per hour. Up here, we're about 2 hours north of Rapid City. I think the highest was 85 or 90 miles an hour, which is a Category 1 hurricane level of wind. and there was no storm. It was just wind. It was, the wind's gonna, oh my gosh. I can't even believe this. Oh my gosh. You probably can't see it if you're watching. Oh, 2 bald eagles are flying right over us right this minute. Oh my gosh. I can't even believe it. I don't even know if I've ever seen that. 2 bald eagles flying in perfect tandem. Oh my gosh. They just flew from west, east, directly over, and now they're kind of circling over the pasture that's directly east of us. Wow. Thank you, Prairie. Thank you, eagles. That was pretty awesome. Wow, that was awesome. So, we had a wind event, and the most noteworthy thing about it is how few things were affected. And I was once again impressed and amazed that the trees here, specifically the trees, buildings too, but the trees, so few lost branches, and so few, I mean, we had very few that came down. I know there were people that lost trees, but considering that level of wind, it's pretty impressive, and just goes to show, I think, how unbelievably deep those roots must go if they can hold themselves in the ground when they have that amount of wind brushing up against them. So I've written a lot about this, and it's something I think about daily, which is what would it take to grow roots that are that deep? The answer is I don't know. But again, especially here in January, I mean, this is a time that we often think of as a dormant time here. Obviously, things are not growing upward, but it is not a time where nothing is happening. And I think that these periods of things being fallow and resting, and a different type of growth than the kind of growth we might be seeing with our eyes, are just as important, if not more important. Plants know this, of course. I think humans know it, but many of us have forgotten, and it's good to be reminded. So, yes, those are the kind of thoughts I want to share with you. Maybe some weeks we'll have more stories. But again, this is a collaboration between myself and whomever else wants to show up to share in the stories that I'm telling you. And like I said, maybe some weeks there will be a little bit more of a curated story that I'll bring to you. But maybe a lot of it's just going to be listening to what's happening. And I hope if it makes sense for you, that this can also be an invitation to go out and listen to the place that you live and see who comes to visit you. Because absolutely, your kith, they want to meet you. I know it. I've experienced it over and over again myself, so I know they want us humans to come out and say hello. So I'll just leave you with one more minute to just be here now. And then you can decide if you want to go out, go on a little neighboring visit to see who is around. And you know what? I'm going to add one thing, which is that I have been thinking about kith as my other than human neighbors for a while. So the plants, the animals, the weather, I think of that as my kith. But the humans are your kith too. I just happen to live in a place where there's not that many humans. But if you live in a place where there are humans, maybe this can be an invitation to go out and see who you meet that you aren't expecting, or that you haven't made a specific plan with. Because I think there's a lot of humans that would love to be neighboring with you as well, wherever it is that you're listening or watching from. So we'll say goodbye for now. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you and talk with you next week.